After a bit of a hiatus, we are back in LFM for Season 18. And I'll be honest, the nice summer weather lately has been keeping me out of the rig, but some fantastic trackside experiences for myself at both the Spa 6-Hour World Endurance Championship and the GT World Challenge Zandvoort event have got me excited to get back in the rig and get racing once more. And we're picking things up where we left them in LFM with racing at Imola in the Ford Mustang. Now there is an LFM conversation that we need to have at the end of this video, but these three races were a fantastic way to kick things off with a milestone reached and some personal best reset. Let's dive into the action, show you how it all went down. So the sunny weather of late has certainly not followed us into this first LFM race here at Imola. Very wet conditions, and this is the first time that I have driven the Ford Mustang in wet conditions at all. So this whole session was a bit of a discovery lesson for me, trying to understand where the grip levels are and how this car handles with the Go setup, wet setups that I am using. Now those setups do feel really nice. I was really happy with how the car was handling. Bit of track knowledge here has certainly helped me, really focusing on the exits more than corner entry, and we were certainly finding gains through the session. Our last opportunity to set a lap time here in this qualifying session, and we are going to be half a second up as we come down to Ravazza for this final time of qualifying. And unfortunately we're going to make a little bit of a mistake through this last corner, losing a few tenths, and we're still hoping to improve on our current 7th place in this qualifying session, door card number 5, so we are roughly where our ELO is at. As we come to the line here, we are going to improve up into position number 5, but that turns into position 6 by the session end. Now, funny moment here on the start, we have a couple of cars which are taking up the same grid slot there on the left hand side, so leaving us a lovely piece of room here in front as we come up towards the start line, waiting for that green light, and we are underway. Decent launch there, the green Lamborghini comes back over, and we've got the Ferrari on our inside as we come down towards the first turn. Now a couple of cars behind as well, really hoping to not be involved in any collisions here, wanting to have a nice safe and solid race first one back, and we get through here nicely, that Ferrari slipping up the inside. Big slide on the exit, but fortunately through there nice and safe with a bit of a buffer behind to take the pressure off. First look here of the livery getting moved over to the Mustang. Thank you once again to Luxka for the liveries on my cars. Mustang is looking fantastic here as we come down towards the hairpin, and it immediately became clear that visibility was going to be a bit of a shock to the sensors here. Literally telling myself I cannot see anything with those cars in front, and the nerves were high first race back, so we were just trying to be nice and safe. I've backed off a little bit from those cars in front with the gap that we have behind, and hopefully we can have a nice safe and clean race. Moving on a few laps now, and that gap behind has certainly opened up, over 6 seconds now, and in front here, green Lamborghini in 4th place. He makes a bit of a mistake coming out of turn number 4, and that is going to allow a position swap with those two cars in front. We were hoping for some mistakes from those drivers in front. I certainly wasn't able to really hold on to the back of them, trying to be more on the sensible side here, and obviously with the spray, kind of didn't want to get too close and create too much of a drama with those cars. And all was pretty quiet until this moment here for car number 8, currently in 3rd position, and that was going to bring him a lot closer to us during this race. Now he does rejoin in front of the two cars there, creating a 3-car battle pack up in front, but this will be the story for the rest of the race. Those cars certainly do start to battle it out amongst each other, and that allows us to begin to close up a bit with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock for this one. You see I'm on a pretty decent lap here. This one is actually going to be faster than our qualifying time, so continuing to find pace in this car with this setup throughout the race. Coming down to Ravazza once again here on lap number 12, and in front we're going to have another mistake there from car number 8. He loses it on the exit onto the front straight. You see just getting up onto the curb too much on the accelerator, and around he goes, and that is going to allow us to move up into that top 5 position. Nice way to start out our LFM races, and a nice clean way to get through this one. In fact, with that P5 position, for the first time in LFM, I actually move up to a gold rating in the driver rating, which feels like a bit of a milestone. I came close a few months ago, but we did have a run of bad luck, so to work back and finally get over the line feels really awesome, and definitely some new confidence as we head on into race number 2. I will, however, say that the gold rating is a little bit awkward paired with my S level safety rating. The green and gold is the national sporting colours of Australia, who are New Zealand's biggest sporting rival. So if there was ever a motivation to get up to platinum driver rating, well, I certainly have it. However, the big story of this race number 2 here at Imola is the grid size. 9 cars out on track, 10 signed up for this 1 PM Tuesday race, which, if I'm honest, last season was significantly more populated. However, on this qualifying lap, we were able to get into a groove with some dry running out on track, and I'm ultimately using it as a bit of a practice session and sort getting my eye back in for this tricky Imola circuit in the dry. I'm dual card number 2, which in a way does show a bit of a drama as well, with none of the top rated drivers really in the split. So we're going to come through here, we're going to improve nicely a 28-degree track temperature, so hot temperatures, but we're going to come through for a low 1 minute 41, so we're quite quickly getting our eye back in this Mustang around Imola, and that is a comfortable P2 on the grid for me. A fair gap to the cars behind, a little bit of a gap to the car in front, so we're just going to see if we can hold on to that leader at all, see if we can't cause him some dramas as we get the green light and we are underway. Now the red Porsche behind gets a really good start here, so I'm having to go a little bit defensive to see what he does. He ultimately doesn't throw it around the outside, and if you look in the mirror you see the other Porsche gets it wrong over the curb, and actually they come together through the second part of the first set of corners there. So we immediately find a gap behind, and we are all eyes forward for this race. However, after a few laps, a bit of a scrappy start for me, that car definitely gets away, and in fact the Porsche behind is closer to me than I had expected. Purple on this particular lap, however, 14 minutes to go, you see how quickly those gaps have stretched out. This is the closest I get in terms of comparable lap time to the leader. I go through for a 1 minute 41.49, but he's done a 41.3, which isn't one of his faster laps. So as we look at this beautiful Mustang once again with its new livery, it turns into quite the lonely race for me. The only stories to tell were on track cuts. I had picked one up earlier, and as we came through turn number 9 here, go a little bit wide and pick up one more. So with 8 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock, I was going to be needing to be careful with how those played out. Certainly didn't want to be picking up a silly penalty with such an easy race on hand. Also at turn 9 on the very final lap, we have a back marker spinning out there at turn 9, and that's going to give us something to navigate on this final lap as we come down towards turns 11, 12, 13, and we are able to just bring this one home and pick up that P2 position. Like I said before, the lack of races is a little bit of a concern, and we're going to keep a very close eye on that through the rest of season 18. Lots of talk about player numbers in LFM at the moment, so we'll be keeping a pretty close eye on that and bringing you that story over the next few videos. However, the very next race, we had a much stronger field and twice as many drivers, so we were going to be in for a really good race. Door card number 9, and more importantly, we were down to 18-degree track temperatures, so this is prime conditions for fast racing, and this here is now going to be my official best lap around Imola in the Ford Mustang, and this will be an improvement on my previous BMW best time around the circuit. Now coming out of turn number 6, down towards the turn 7 hairpin, coming out near nicely, getting on the throttle as early as possible, using that good traction control that this Ford Mustang has as we come up towards turn number 9. Got to be cautious of the track limits on the outside of the circuit, down to second gear, don't quite get as much of that curve as I normally would like to, and then down towards 11, 12, 13, working really hard on this corner in this car. Getting through here in second gear required some really good momentum momentum out the other side, and we get that one nice, going a little bit up on our previous best time, but there is time to find late in this lap. The chicane now, the Mustang doesn't go through here as nice as the BMW does, but again, we've been slowly working our way up to an optimum line, really nailing it on that lap. Now 3/10 up as we come down to Ravazza here 3 minutes ago in this qualifying session, but this is certainly going to be my best lap. Nicely through the first part and down out turn 18, the final corner, and right on the limit there of the exit curb, getting into the throttle nice and early, and that's going to go half a second better than our previous best, and a 1 minute 40.760, now officially my best LFM lap time here. And I knew it was a good lap. I was really happy with that one, and although the start of the next lap was actually an improvement, we did make a mistake and I'm able to finish the lap. Now ultimately we starting this race out of position number 5, and that felt really good. It was a competitive time, and it was going to be really interesting to see how this one played out in the race. So we're on the start line here, holding speed, getting ready for the start, and we're going to get a green light any moment now. We are underway, and it's inside line here. I've got this Aston Martin directly in front. He's trying to squeeze over, but we have the nose up the inside slightly. We're going to brake early here, get right over this inside curb. The Mustang can deal with that nicely, and then I don't get a good run on the second part of the opening chicane there, so that Aston Martin allows to slip on through. But we're going to hold on to our 5th place starting position, door card number 3 Mustang directly behind me. So I was certainly a bit nervous about being around drivers like this, and we're just going to hopefully slot in here and get some confidence through the first part of this lap. Nerves were really high, and we're coming out of the hairpin here nicely and pulling a slight margin on that car behind. So settling the nerves and getting into this first lap. Coming up to turn number 9, tricky little corner here, and we don't want to go too wide on cold tyres. Nicely through there as well, and as you can see, a bit of a gap back to the P7 position there, so we're sort of already stretching a bit of a margin. Taking it calmly through turn number 12 there, out the other side as we come up towards the chicane, and we're going to hopefully get a really nice run through here on this opening lap. My previous race, the opening laps were really scruffy, so I was hoping to tidy that up, particularly with the extra pressure of these higher rated drivers around me. But we get through there nicely, and we're starting to feel confident that we're in the right part of this grid, confident now that our starting position was no fluke, and that this sort of pace will be able to be held on to for this 25-minute race. Out of the last corner here, as you can see behind, Mustang behind, not quite getting it as nicely, so it's a nice little gap in the right sort of place. The leader's getting away there. It's in fact my West Competition Racing teammate who's in the lead of this race, setting a blisteringly fast opening lap. We won't be touching him at all in this race. But on lap number 2, coming towards turn number 12, I do make a bit of a mistake coming too hot into that corner, and the car running wide on the exit, and we do lose out to that number 3 Mustang. Careful on the rejoin to not cause any dramas, but a little mistake there, and frustratingly falling down 1 position. Despite that though, 10 minutes into this race, I was able to continue to follow this number 3 car. A little bit of a gap opened up to the cars behind me, and to be perfectly honest, after settling in and finding my groove once again, I was actually starting to think that potentially we could put some pressure on this car in front and get back to that P5 position by the end of the race. A top 5 in this sort of field I would be extremely happy about, and 3 top 5s to get back into LFM racing would be a great result. We're going to come through this final corner here with a half decent exit. Plenty to see, about half a second away, although our pace, as I said, was about on par. Those cars in front were starting to pull away. You can see there's a 40.9 for the 3rd place car there, probably a little bit out of touch for my race pace at the moment, although we are slowly starting to get up towards that sort of pace. However, a mistake here into turn 1, out braking myself, missing my brake marker there. Fortunately, not collecting the back of that number 3 car, but losing out. Here it is from the overhead. We're not close at all, but we just miss our braking marker, and I have to move onto the curb, which obviously doesn't help with slowing the car down, and we go through the gravel. Behind me, fast approaching, is the number 7 Mustang now. I was glad to have a bit of a gap behind, but he is now right on me as we come through turns 5 and 6, dirty tyres, and I get caught napping here a little bit. He dives into the inside of the hairpin. I should have defended this significantly better than I did. He's side by side on the exit with better drive, and he's going to slowly creep up by me here and take the racing line as we head into turn number 9. Another overhead shot to show this one. You see, my exit was a little bit wiggly on the way out of turn number 6, and he just dives down the inside there. I should have been significantly better covering that inside line, sacrificing some on-track time, but holding on to that position, and rightly so, he manages to get this place up towards turn number 9. And a bit frustrating from my point. That's 2 mistakes now I've made in this race, where my pace should have me further up the field, but that is what happens. You make mistakes, you do get punished in these LFM races. So rightly so, we are back down to position number 7 with 10 minutes to go now in this race, and I certainly had some advantages on this car in front. There was a few sectors, particularly through the first set of corners, and a lot of the time through the chicane, where I was just able to get the line a little bit nicer and get a bit of a run on this car in front. However, Imola is a very hard track to pass around, so it was definitely going to be a hard task to make a nice clean pass on this number 7 car. A positive, however, for this moment of the race, a 1 minute 41.130 resets my fastest racing lap here at Imola, a good sign despite the small mistakes we've made to this point. Heading down to turn number 1 now on lap number 11. We're going to get our first little chance to make an overtake here on this Ford Mustang. Approaching turn 1, he puts a wheel into the grass a little bit, gets a bit of a slide here. We check up a little bit to make sure that there is no full spin in front, but we still manage to get a run out of turn number 4, heading down towards turn number 5, side by side through this set of corners. Now we take the inside line and we get good respect here through turn number 6. I do run wide, put a wheel into the gravel, but space is given all round, and I've still got the nose inside here as we head into the hairpin. We definitely chuck it in. I'm a little bit caught up on the inside curve there, and I don't quite get the run that I was hoping for out of the hairpin. A little touch here as we head up towards turn number 9. No harm, no foul, and he manages to pull ahead once again, but very close to pulling an overtake on, and we've got to be very careful because we have the Lamborghini directly behind, so I'm eyes forward and eyes behind in this race. 5 minutes to go now on the next lap, and we are going to get another opportunity here. Car number 7 runs a little bit wide off turn 9, and we're able to sneak down the inside of turn 10, but puts us on the outside of turns 11 and 12. I think better of it, and we tuck in behind because, again, I've got that Lamborghini directly behind. Trying to hang around the outside of turn 12 was certainly going to open the door for him. And again, the very next lap, we have ourselves another opportunity. They keep coming at us, but we go once again unable to find a way by. A little bit wide there at turn 12. It's just not big enough of a mistake in front to get a good run. I think better of chucking it down the inside into the chicane. You can just see that ending in tears, and I don't want to end our races just to get a pushy move done here. Down towards the final set of corners, and with only a few laps to go, my opportunities are running out in this one. It's good, hard, clean racing. I'm really enjoying it. This is as good as LFM can get. It's certainly a lot of fun when you get the right drivers around you. So coming into the final minutes though, will I be able to get up into this P6 and recover one of those positions before the checkered flag? Now, this is the final lap of the race. We're going to bring the full lap here. There's certainly a bit of action coming into turn 1, a bit deeper on the brakes and getting it nicely through the first set of corners here. We're getting a nicer exit, and once again, we're getting a run on the number 7 Mustang, heading down towards turn number 5 and 6. We have a bit of a think here, but we're not far enough alongside. Trying to get a good exit. I get held up a little bit mid-corner, which is fine, and that unfortunately means not enough of a run to get down to the hairpin. Trying to stay close, trying to put the pressure on, and behind a little moment for the Lamborghini a lap prior has kind of put him out of contention here, so I can be a bit more focused, eyes forward, as we come up towards turn number 9. And these next few corners we're going to be critical in this last part of the last lap. We have been seeing some mistakes here from this driver in these corners, so I'm looking to be nice and close and put some good pressure on and see if I can't force another mistake. Coming out of turn 12 here, I get a really nice run, I'm really
early on the throttle out there. Again, a speed difference, but nowhere to use it as we come up to the chicane. Want to put some good pressure on here to see if we can make a mistake. I've got to get it right myself, and I absolutely do. Nice and early over that first curve and a really good run off the second. I definitely have a speed advantage here. Can't use it down the inside, trying around the outside here, and with the leader now finishing the race, I definitely think I've got to have a go here. We pull it to the inside, we brake as late as we possibly can, but it is a bit too late. I think the Black Mustang as well certainly was braking late also. He was sort of taking a very short run to the apex there, trying to get the car stopped in a straight line, and ultimately we both end up off the circuit, losing out to the two cars behind, but I was making sure that I gave that position back as well. I take responsibility for that one, not able to get my car stopped. Good, clean, hard racing, and just on the wrong side of it, unfortunately for both of us at the end. You'll see here on the helicopter replay how good the line through the chicane was. I was really happy with that one. I just definitely felt like I was in a position to force a moment here. He doesn't defend the corner early, he sort of moves a little bit later, but as I said, I take responsibility, not able to get my car stopped. I have to try avoid him as best I can, but I sort of felt like he was running wide as well. It was just hard racing, I think. It was worth having a go. I'd been showing extra pace for a few laps prior, and that is just how it rolls out. Unfortunately, we obviously lose those positions to those two cars in front, and like I mentioned before, I was definitely not trying to gain an advantage on that car, giving that position back. So apologies to that driver for losing out a few positions there, but thanks for the race. I definitely had a lot of fun. It's nice to be back in LFM. Really enjoyable racing for sure.
So 3 great races there to kick things back off for me in LFM Season 18. Let me know your thoughts about that last lap moment in the comment section below. I really enjoyed the hard racing and it was a shame for it to end the way that it did, but thank you to that driver for such a good battle. However, the bigger LFM conversation, as I alluded to in the middle of the video, is around the general player numbers. Despite not doing racing myself, I have been keeping a close eye on the player numbers through the first part of the season, and in general, they definitely feel like they are down. Now, I've not gone through a summer period in the rig, being into sim racing the last 10 months, so for the more experienced and long-term LFM players, is this normal when the weather is as it is, or are we really seeing a drop in player base? It's something I'm going to keep a close eye on and instead bring you that story over the next few weeks. I think it will be the big conversation, particularly by the end of LFM Season 18. Despite this though, I am feeling refreshed, recharged, ready to crack on to some great online racing. I'll be honest, making videos, bring you content continually is a lot of work. So if you're still watching at this part of the video, I just want you to know you're an absolute legend in my eyes. Thank you very much for sticking through to this point. You are the people who I think of when editing these ones. Race hard, stay positive. We will see you again soon for another video. Cheers.